Lawler, I don't want you sitting in the jury box. I had a lawyer try that once. It's not permitted.
Oh. That'd be a first for me after 200 something of these. That would be. I've heard of guys whacking their heads, trying to prove they could get a concussion. That's not me. We torture ourselves.
Barry, what time does lunch go? What time does lunch go?
Just looking at the time. Just need to.
Jurors are entering. Welcome back, everyone. You may be seated. Defense, you may proceed with your closing argument.
Yes, will you please the court?
Yes, sir.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, my name is Pat Lawler, and along with my co-counsel, Ms. Jackson, and Ms. Swanson, Mr. Smith, Mr. Carter, we want to thank you for your attention. Obviously, we see my trial notes, and obviously, this is a very, very serious case. The state came up here, they indicated that Mr. Carter didn't want to get in trouble. This isn't about trouble. This is about the state pursuing force and significant charge against Noel Carter. That's what it's about. The state came up here and basically went over jury instructions and all the law. I want to bring you back to reality. I want to bring you back to really why we're here. What has happened to bring us to this situation. One of the jurors asked a very, very deep question, very interesting question. We believe that it's probably an all one. The question was, if Noel Carter on that night after being told to go left, what do you think it is? We know there's probably an all your mind about that. We want to address that as a starting point here to take the evidence in this case. Just for some time, I'm going to be the first person to speak. I'm going to talk to you mainly about the evidence back. Mr. Smith's going to come up here and talk to you about the law and instructions of what the state talks about. But with that question being said, we have to look at what happened in that situation. We've been over and over what went on. That's a significant part of the case. Because the question is, what should Noel Carter have done? Remember, the issue is not what Noel Carter should have done. The issue is what should have done. Because one thing we know is that we're fearful that you're going to try and hold Noel Carter to a perfect standard, some human standard, a human being that you're not. You got to understand that the police and the government are bestowed with the power to take life and liberty. And with all that, at times there comes responsibility not to abuse human rights of people in our community. So we start at that point and we ask ourselves, what should we have done? But what really should be asked is who has control of that situation? Who's supposed to? Because that's the essence. If we take it to that scenario, we're talking about a very small window in this case, which started. Take yourself back, right down the road here, above 5578. On that corner, Officer Cruz calls him over to talk. He talks only to one person. Somebody who's clearly intoxicated in this respect. Evidence shows you had at least 8 drinks, at least 2 shots, and obviously that's something that you can consider inside. But they only talk to her. Mr. Carter stands over by himself. He calls Officer Mays, or Mr. Mays, to come over and stand next to him. Does Mr. Mays do anything? Did he do anything in that case? He did absolutely nothing. In fact, it's undisputed that he came over. He stood there and didn't even make eye contact. Now you have to take that into context. This is a hip hop club. It's like almost 9:45 at night, usually blaring on Thursday night downtown. There's been an argument between a male and a female, and you're going to find out what's happening. So I bring you to the question I asked Officer Cruz. The question I bring before you is responsibilities of police officers. The opportunity, the responsibility of police officers is to de-escalate the situation. That's what they're trained for. Officers, we respect them, they do unbelievable jobs out on the street, they put their lives on the line every day. However, in some situations, they don't do what they need to do. That's what the essence of this case is. They fail. Officers fail miserably to follow their own procedures and policies in order to take this case, take control of this case, and make sure that nothing happens. What do I do? I talked about the policies and procedures for investigating dating. It's really the policies and procedures for investigating dating. The first thing in that case, they said you're supposed to take the people, separate them, so they cannot see nor hear each other. We know they failed miserably on that. And why do they do that? When you're dealing with some type of argument or discussion between a man and people, or any people, there's emotion involved. So when you say you have to separate them so you can't see or hear, because what happened in this case? Noel's testified he was standing there, and he saw her start crying. And his first inquiry was, what did he say to her to make her cry? That's why they have that policy. De-escalate the situation. At that point, Noel Carter had done nothing. He'd been brought over, he was standing there, Officer Mason's standing next to him, and he's talking to Mrs. Faye. After he's done talking to her, he comes over to Mr. Carter. The problem is, that should have never happened at that point. You had an officer, 23 years, Mr. Mason. 2-3 years. What do you do when you're arrested? Anybody, in this case, common sense, think about that. You interview and talk to them about what's going on. You have a woman who's saying, he was over me, I don't want him around. The first thing you do in a calm fashion is go over to him, Mr. Carter, what's your name? They didn't ask him that. How did you get here? Well, her friend drove. Where are you from? I'm from down in Dayton, Florida. Okay, tell me the circumstances. Well, Mrs. Faye, his former girlfriend, we reconnected. She invited me up here. I came up 2.5, 3 hours to meet with her. We had a wonderful time in her apartment. We had sexual relations. We came down here. We had a nice dinner. And then we had a little disagreement over another guy as to what was going on. Okay, where are you at? What do you do? Well, my car is at her house. My keys are in her apartment. And it's a gated community. Simply, that's what an officer's supposed to do. It doesn't take us as lay people to know that. We do that every day with our families. If there's a disagreement, we take and want to hear both sides. And then we get together with our husband, our wife, our boyfriend, girlfriend, and we talk about it. And then you figure out how you can de-escalate the situation. That's what it's about. What did they do? They did the exact opposite. Why is that significant? Because, and this is why you will find him guilty every single time. He went over to Mrs. Faye, trying to the stadium said a mere brushing something. He went over to her, and they had a talk over 2 to 3 minutes. That's what you see in the video, that they were up in that corner before the now officer car, and he got out from up there. Mr. Carter said that she tried to walk away, he put his elbow, let's finish it. The critical thing is, if there is any evidence that was against your will, any evidence, because that's the first thing they came and talked to you about, right? This is where the case starts. That's exactly right. That's where it started, because it was never, ever, ever, ever a battery. Ever. Because why? First of all, he stopped her, and then she stayed there and continued to talk to him. What do people do when they don't want somebody to be around? They grab, get off me, and they start walking away. Right? Common sense. She stayed there. That's the only evidence. Officer Cruz didn't say she tried to walk away. He said he came up and he saw that and they were talking. That's the first one. So what happened after that? Then he brought him up to the corner. He went to speak to Mrs. Faye. Now, according to Officer Cruz, he had a battery that occurred to a young lady he wants to find out the relationship of the girl and the guy, right? He finds that their ex-boyfriends are dating. Now he has probable cause for dating violence. Remember the significance of this? This is absolutely significant. Dating violence, according to the Orlando Police Department, is a must-arrest situation. Must. Did he walk over to Mr. Carter and say, "Sir, you are under arrest for dating violence"? He walked over and said, "She has a ride home." You do not let someone go who you believe is dating violence, a domestic abuse, a beating of a woman. To be labeled somebody who is a dating violence, domestic abuser is awful in this society.
Objection. Yes?
Ladies and gentlemen, that's my not the same. So you have to understand that in context of what's going on. At that point, you have to look at the reasonableness of what happened. You have a young man who's sitting here, and let's talk about this young man. He's a man of polite, educated. He's done everything right. He's gone out and have licenses. He's 3-7. He works at a creative college. This young man is somebody that you look at, he's doing it really well. So what we have here is what is the response after that? Well, first of all, we know that the department did not follow the old policy. The next thing is, you go. What did Noel do next? Well, according to the officers, he was combative. He said, "I have talked to her, nothing he could do." He said, "I really inquired about it. And I talked to her, I need to get keys to that apartment." And they continued to cut him off. Now you look at that situation when he's in. But this situation change at all? You don't change any of those facts. But the keys are in his bed. And he says, "I need to get my keys." And, "No, you can't have any. You need to go." "No, you need to go. I need to go." What did he do? He takes 3 or 4 steps back. Where is he going? He's in an area downtown he's never been. He's driven there by somebody he barely knows. He doesn't have any way to get into her apartment to get his keys. And he's sitting there, so in his mind, the reasonable aspect is to continue to transfer that police talk. But the significant thing is the videos. Rarely do you have a case where you have so many videos showing action.
The evidence supports that. You can check that off. Count 4. Resisting an officer without violence. The judge is going to Mr. Carter's actions were not defensive. They were not justified use of force. They were aggressive, and Officer Cruz and Officer May's actions were in response to that aggression. They did what they had to do to protect themselves and the public, and especially Mrs. Bayo.
You can leave.
And upon hearing that, what did you
My keys, my bag, my car, everything that I needed to get home.
And then he let go of that, put you in the bear hug, and turned you towards the spread. Spray. He drops him, puts him into the bear hug. And what does he do, Jeff? You saw me over here with the hug. Puts him in the bear hug and literally turns him right into the spray. You won't listen to me, I'm going to have you sprayed right in the face, which is horrible, burning, can't see, can't breathe, panic, disorientation, right in the face. That is horrible. Right in the face. Where's Noel's hands? Where are they at? Up. Up, 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 up. In a totally non-aggressive fashion through this entire confrontation with these officers. These officers want you to believe that he was moving towards people. I'm going to talk, there's nothing you can do. What we said, judge people not what they say, but we talked about that before the jury said you can go. We have no evidence that she was elevated. So now look what you're doing to him. Now this not doesn't come in as rap, this becomes abuse. And abuse because once they spray him in the face, Officer Mays then wants to throw him to the ground and Noel catches his balance and goes off the scene. So that's where it started. He just got sprayed in the eyes, and you heard him testify after he got sprayed, he went over trying to get it out. You're going to get all these photographs. What do you see all over his shoulders? Spray. How did he get there? All like this, between his eyes on. And you heard Officer Mays say, yeah, you know, that's the worst thing you can do. You get it back and you get in there worse. So it's not what he said, it's the action. You can photograph it and show you what happened. Look, everything in what's going on. So then he goes off of the screen and he's trying to get the spray out, and out of nowhere he's slammed into by Officer Cruz, knocked to the ground, and then he gets up and he's still trying to get the spray out. Now he said when he was getting spray, he saw Joanne and he's saying, I'm going to her, I want to just say, tell him to stop, you know, or something to that nature. And then all of a sudden, whack, he gets whacked. That video you just saw, which shows the taser situation, I'll put that on. It's not a very good video, it doesn't show stuff. If you break it down, see Noel being knocked down. Because what you got to understand is his first video we saw, that's the beginning. That other video from the side of the club, that's the next phase. That's the next phase of him going off. You see the people trying to get out of the way because he's coming by with spray in his face trying to get it off. Then he's slammed down. You have a guy with that spray in his face, completely exposed, and he just runs into him, slams into him. Noel pops up, he starts walking, and then the guy comes up and tries to taser spray, contact taser in the back. He doesn't try, he actually does. I'm going to put that in here. You see, ladies and gentlemen, that's Joanne Spaya walking, calmly over leaning against the side of the wall, getting herself. Up the top green, what do you see there? When you look at it back there, you see Officer Mays, Officer Cruz, conversing, deciding what to do. They just finished speaking to Mrs. Spaya. Noel is here off the screen. At this point, they never even spoke to Noel. They know nothing. You'll see in a moment that all of a sudden they walk up the screen. See, huge legs in the officer there at the top. Get back because they look better. Here they go, they're walking off and they're going over the talk with Mr. Carter. This is where they go over and talk, and you put yourself there, and you see them now, they're saying, hey, listen, she got a ride home, you need to leave. Mr. Carter's like, listen, you know, I need to talk to her. No, that's not going to happen. You can go. Okay? You can go. He says, but no, I need to get my key. You didn't know. You can go. And then all of a sudden starts that first video. That's where they are. And all of a sudden you see movement here. It's hard to pick up. You see movement. And at this point, after he got sprayed, he's coming across here with spray in his face. And you notice when he gets over here that you'll see Mrs. Spade move. Because she's like, oh no, what's going on? Mr. Carter's up here at the office. Here's one of them. You'll see right in the corner here him get knocked down. Right there. See his foot? Right up here? That's when Officer Cruz ran in and slammed into him while he was trying to get the spray out of his eyes. At this point, he gets back up again. Still walking away. You know, see him going up and trying to, you see his hands up high, you see his hands up here trying to get it out of his eyes. Officer Cruz then comes by without any knowledge to Noel. He extends his taser. And the state tries to tell you that he just did it without anything done to him to make him react. Well, he just got hit with how many volts of electricity? You saw the pictures. These are coming into evidence. This is the pictures of the burns and marks from the contact taser in the shoulder. You'll be able to see them there. That's where you get the contact taser from getting hit in the upper left arm. That's what Mr. Carter testified that was. And then his reaction is, which is reasonable, he gets hit in the back with voltage, electricity, electrocuted. And he turns around, goes like that. He didn't have any intent, because they're trying to say the battery is intent, but not. There was no intent there. He's got spray in his face. He just got knocked to the ground while he's getting spray out of his face. He's walking away, still trying to get it out. And this guy comes up and hits him with a contact taser with all the voltage of electricity. Think of that for a minute. All that spray. And then, at that point, he turns around and he's like, what are you doing, man? Stop! You saw it. That's the bad deal on Officer Cruz. That's it. That's what they want to charge him with, battery on a law enforcement officer. Now, the interesting about that charge, when he first filled out the arrest affidavit, he didn't put anything. He didn't know about it. Why? Because he never been caught. It never occurred. Nothing to the level of the battery. Right? Then I asked him, I said, later on you changed it. Now you added this battery on law enforcement to you. Did you amend your arrest affidavit? No. I changed it when I saw the video. When did you change it? Ladies and gentlemen, that is absolutely true. How do you know that? It's the only video that came out of that day. About this year didn't come out. That cell phone video that you saw, we caught in our Monday. We learned from Mr. Willingham, security at Atlanta Sentinel. He gave OPD that video of the beating on the curb on Monday. But we know it didn't come out. What's being true? Is there any merit person in this charge? No, it's called that bitch. We have to do the club, we have to chase you down the street, beat you on the curb. I'm going to come back and get my arrest affidavit. I'm going to charge you with all these charges. And by the way, I'm going to retaliate and add another one the next day, which I'm going to know about. Because he tells us it's by opinion. This is the basis of battery on law enforcement against the law. So first he does the battery. Now we're dealing with battery on law enforcement officers. That's a serious, serious, serious charge. Not once, but twice. Also names like her. You see anything about this? Some popular in that melee means getting beaten, punched in the chest. What's the other side? You see what I'm going to? This has everything to do. Let's talk about this. The Thursday night, I had to talk about the situation with the officers. Chase this guy down, beat him, arrest him, take him down to jail. Fill out their arrest affidavit, out of town. Let's just charge him with these charges, right? You know, we're going to charge him with everything. Everything changed. Everything changed. And then this was the ever-changing case. You think about that. That's what this was supposed to be. When that video came out, all over it. This video's out there. It doesn't look good. Because you want to know why? They didn't even show you the girl. I'm sure you know. That's the first thing that came out that started the ball rolling. Them trying to justify their actions in this case. Because the next day, that afternoon that this came out, then they started doing performance. This video came out on the morning of June 5th. It was produced. We thank a concerned citizen, Katrina Compton, for recognizing that this was wrong, this was going on, and getting this video. Stop, man. Another one. That's Mr. Mays. Or Mr. Mays, right? We'll listen in a minute to that video at the club. When he's saying, calm down. That's not. When a guy who's about to reload his taser and shoot you in the chest, he's saying, stop me for you. Listen to the whole thing without him stopping through the whole thing. This is what came out on the morning of June 5th. This came out in the media. We know that everything started to change and trying to justify or look at what really led up to this. Now you got to remember, this is after that. We'll watch the other video. But you see, they're saying, he's being tased. When he's being tased, he's recycling once, twice, 3 times. That's what it said on the stand all the time. Let's talk about Officer Cruz. Talked about his when he got out. Talked about what happened on his birthday, came over. Talked about a discussion with Mrs. Faye and everything's talking to Noel. Comes up to Noel. You go. She's got a right. No, I said you can go. I said you can go. And every time Noel tried to explain to him why, he would interrupt him and then we go to that video. He wasn't happy. This guy wasn't listening to him. Was he giving him a favor? Like, oh no, you don't let people go. Let people go and know what crime is perfect. That's a law. That's so he comes in and he says that. He says that at that point he tried to say he was in a blank stare. He wasn't looking at it. We saw the video. He's going to say it happened before the video. But they have a pro-arrest situation. De-escalating versus escalation. This is a big case of pure, simple escalation. Because Officer Cruz had been called out to an AC car and wanted to deal with an argument between a man and a woman. And then he was just telling me, hey, listen, you need to go. I want to go back to my AC car. And he goes, I need to talk. No, you need to go. Now it turns into something. And that's not what a police officer does. That's not what they do. Yes, it's a difficult job. Yes, it has some difficulties. simply common performance of a fine. We went over the arrest affidavit, the pre-charge, that deal later on. Let's get to the curve. That curve video of the OPD like curve. They don't want anything to do. Why? Because it shows the whole situation. Brutal, aggressive, awful, awful. It's hard to watch. It's hard to watch. But when we saw that, well, because the next day, he contacted the boss of the party last week. A lot of it says 6'5", it says not complete until you sign affidavit verified. Well, it's amazing, this history report, not verified, I have on. Let's talk about what's going on with Officer Cruz and Law Versus Report. Cell phone to get the plugs. It's very without the data, nothing. It's full deep brain video. And so, as the state indicated, that as video evidence comes in, you can change your story to fit the video. That's fine, right? Did they change your story at all? Why? Because when I talk about the court, nothing. The most amazing thing is which was just mind-boggling, is Officer Cruz with the spray. Because after the video came out, the balcony video, Officer Cruz had some kind of justify. So he was informed about the video. He saw it on the morning. He's got to prepare his report. Preparing his report, you have, and sort of begin, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I want you to pay attention to Officer Cruz in this case. That looks like a man who's fearful because he has pepper spray in his eyes. He's fearful that Mr. Carter is going to regain his strength and come up to him and somehow confront him. So therefore, he has to rear back on 6 occasions and punt him in the shoulder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Bam! Down he goes. He even tries a 7, but he whiffs. Want to see it again, ladies and gentlemen? Let's see it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whiff. That's even difficult to watch. But according to him, he was pepper spray. But that's almost comical. Because what did he say in his case? He says at the club when he grabbed him around the waist, he turned his head and I asked him, did it affect you? No. The next spray you see is him spraying. Did that affect you? No. Noel Carter's got 2 sprays in the face. And he gets up and goes, runs down the street. And Officer Cruz starts chasing him. And guess what happened? The mist coming off Noel Carter got in my eyes and affected me. When I got to the curve, I was fearful that he would gain his strength and I would become defenseless. So therefore, I had to run up to him and I had to kick him as he first got there. And I had to get on him and push him. So I just went down. And I took out my baton and whacked him 5 times. And then we got in a sprung and we're on him. And then he says he leaned back at him and then he rolled off of him. Mays takes a taser, hits him. He goes down. He shakes. He rolls over on all 4s. To me, what happened next is the most egregious, horrible thing in the case. You have a man on his knees being hit, recycled twice with 50,000 volts of electricity from his face. Officer Cruz walks up and kicks him. Kicks him. Does that have anything to do with pursuing an awful arrest? It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. We'll take a look at it. lot, but it's the point about this is when this is not stopped, right, he sits down. And I prepared the report, okay? What did they say happened when you first sit down? That Mr. Carter lunged at Officer Bates. So they put the report, guess what? Did he lunge, ladies and gentlemen? Did he put in there when I walked up, I kicked him? Is that in the report? Of course not. That's not how police work. Walk when the guy sits down, says I give up, kick him? Is that any way effectuating lawful arrest? Yeah, two guys come, the guy sits on the curb, says I give up. They're going to say, well, he has fought us back here, he made us run. This has everything to do with you made us run, we're going to beat you. We're going to give you a severe beat. Let's start the beating. Boom, first kick, boom, falls over. Boom, second kick. Give me one for good measures. Walks around, tries to push him, boom. Almost push him over. Take it up at the time. Whack, 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 whack. This is all admitted. They admitted to kick him. Then it's a scrum. See Mr. Carter on all fours. Then there's a scrum on the ground. This is allegedly where Officer Mays said, remember a little story that was told earlier when he was chasing him down by Mr. Thomas? He fell. I saw Officer Mays fall on the street. With the injury. That's the bad deal somewhere in there against Officer Mays. That's a battery of law enforcement somewhere there. You see it in there? The only thing you see is that the young man sitting there limp because he's exhausted, sprayed, beaten, he says, I give up because this is a chance to punish him. But you don't see that happen. Remember, not what you say, but what you say. At this point, he rolls off at him and he says, Taser, watch Mr. Carter. This is him right here. Right? Watch what happens. This is the first tase. Down he goes. Right? Just like he did earlier at the end of the balcony video when he just dropped. That's the tase. Watch it all. Boom. Boom. Wow. Right? This man comes up. They want you to convict Noel Carter for what these officers did. He gets up, he does well his arm, then he sits, this starts down. How are we doing with time, Rich?
You're right at 55 minutes.
Yeah, thank you. I may go over that a little bit.
That's fine.
I may have. These are indications of what happened. I want to show you the effects of the Noel Carter. What's the first thing you see? You see a push. First guy. Next, after it's a push, they bear hug him and spray him. After they bear hug him and try and throw him, they tackle him. He falls on the side. After they tackle him, he gets up and he contact agents him. The left shoulder. After they taser him, to the back, they hit him with the baton. One time, supply officer, May. 2 times. 3 times. As he's at the curb, on his hands and knees, what does he do? Or Noel Carter. He's sitting there on his hands and facing the prayer position. He runs down the street. He sits on the curb and gives up. What do? He's sitting there. Left side. Kick. Officer May. Officer Cruz. Kick. He gets up with him. 5 times in the right area. 5. 1. 3. 4. 5. One cycle. First day. And as he's now getting electrocuted. After he does that, I'll need that. 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
minutes.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is James Smith, and I have the privilege of representing Mr. Carter. What I want to do for about 20 minutes is talk to you about the jury instructions. At the beginning and closing arguments, counsel from the other side was found that she came in. She talked to you about the instructions. She talked to you about how she believed the evidence applies to the law of the case. And she said something which she said in opening statement. I'm not exactly sure if she understood the import of what it has for this particular case. She started off by talking about the case as being like a puzzle. And that you have to get all the pieces and put them together. And once you have all those pieces, you can see the state has been able to prove this case beyond reasonable doubt, and it's part of the case. There's one basic principle about putting a puzzle together. And that principle is that you'll never be able to complete a puzzle if you have pieces that don't fit. The unfortunate thing for the state in this particular case is that those last two videos that my colleague showed you, those are the pieces that don't fit. Those are the pieces that don't fit because those are the pieces that show you what actually happened on the night in question here. Those are the pieces that reveal the truth of what happened to Noel Carter. He was the victim of excessive force on the part of two police officers. So this case is like a puzzle. There are pieces that don't fit. They don't fit the testimony, particularly two law enforcement officers, Officer Cruz and Officer May. Those puzzles don't fit. Or the old famous phrase, what I want to do is I want to direct your attention to the jury instructions. And I'd like to direct your attention to page 4. It talks about the definition of reasonable doubt. And I want to read this to you because this is particularly important. Defendant entered a plea of not guilty. This means you must presume or believe the defendant is innocent. The presumption stays with the defendant as to each material allegation in the information for each stage of the trial, unless it has been overcome by the evidence to the exclusion of and beyond a reasonable doubt. If you go further down on the page, there's definitions concerning what a reasonable doubt is. And I emphasize this is particularly important because of this following issue. You've been presented with all the evidence. Now, at some point today, you're going to go back and deliberate. If you sit here today, you go back and deliberate. If you still have questions in your mind, for example, can I trust police officers in this case and their testimony? Do I really know whether or not the contact that took place between Mr. Carter and his girlfriend was on once or a battery? Why exactly is there a difference between what the police officers said initially when they wrote their reports and what they said after they became aware of the publication of their video? If these questions are still in your mind as you sit here today, what that is, that's reasonable doubt. And under the law, you have to find not guilty. Now let's look at this definition here. It says, a reasonable doubt is not a mere possible doubt, speculative, imaginary, or forced doubt. Such a doubt must not influence you to return a verdict of not guilty if you have an abiding conviction of guilt. On the other hand, if after carefully considering, comparing, and weighing all the evidence, there is not an abiding conviction of guilt, or having a conviction, it is one which is not stable, one which wavers and vacillates, then the charge is not proved beyond every reasonable doubt, must find not guilty, because the doubt is reason. Now, if we turn to the next page, the next page is particularly important with regard to instruction. What it does is it gives you a framework you can use how to evaluate all the evidence that you've been presented in this case. You've been here for 2 days now, you've heard a number of witnesses, you've seen documents, pictures, video tapes. How should you resolve this evidence? How are you supposed to weigh it? Well, here in the instructions, there are a few factors we're discussing. I want to direct your attention to top, page 5, where it says, reasonable doubt as to the guilt of the defendant may arise from the evidence, conflict in the evidence, or the lack of the evidence. I want to address that last part here, lack of evidence, when I talk about the first charge that was addressed by the state, and that's the battery. As you know, there's a count. Mr. Carter is charged with battery. All I can go and bail. That's count 3. And the elements of that charge require the state to prove. See at first just one very simple thing. In order to find Mr. Carter guilty of that particular charge, count 3, the state has to prove that Mr. Carter intentionally touched or struck Mr. Bale against her will. Against her will. And like every charge that you're presented with, if the state fails to meet every element, then he's not guilty. Ask yourself, is the evidence lacking with regard to that? What exactly have you been presented with during this trial concerning whether or not she was touched or struck against her will? What they're asking you to do is to find this man guilty of a crime, where all you've heard is the testimony of eyewitnesses. Everything has been conflicting and speculative at best. Is the evidence lacking on that point? Absolutely. What you will be expected to do, follow the state's logic, is to reach a conclusion without a reasonable doubt that he's guilty of doing something against your will, only on the basis of what those people saw. On the basis of what other people saw, their accounts conflict with each other. Go back to the instruction that we just talked about with regard to unreasonable doubt. You can find that there's a reasonable doubt, but there's a lack of evidence. What I would say to you is a fair reading of the evidence in this case is the state has failed to meet its burden of lacking a conflict. Cannot, should not find guilty of battery of an individual. All you have is a conflicting testimony that's been presented to you. Weighing the evidence, you turn back to page 5. Let's entertain the state's argument with regard to that matter. It says, well, we can prove this by circumstantial evidence. We don't have to have direct testimony. We can do it circumstantially. On page 5, there's some guidance that's given to you with regard to how you're supposed to read the evidence. And it says, it's up to you to decide what evidence is reliable. You should use your common sense in deciding which is the best evidence. Which evidence should not be relied upon is simply burden. You may find some of the evidence reliable or less reliable than other evidence. You should consider how the witnesses acted as well as what they said. This is particularly important. Some things you should consider are, first, did the witness seem to have an opportunity to see and know the things about which the witness testified? Can you honestly say, after having heard all the testimony here, that the witnesses who talked about Mrs. Vale can tell you that they know whether or not this touching was against her will? Think about the major conflict. Colin pointed out in the initial part of our closing. You had one witness who comes up and tries to shake him almost so violently it might cause someone to fall and come to that sound. And yet that conflicts with the testimony of the law enforcement officers who said that it was touching. That conflict in the evidence, that lack of evidence, is the type of conflict that can lead you to conclude that it was, if there is, a reasonable doubt in this case. And the most important phrase that's in all of that is your common sense. You've heard us use a lot of pleas, you've seen objections, plenty of time you've got a chance to go back and the coffee that the judge. The most important thing about this entire trial is that it's up to you to decide what happened. You are the individuals who decide what the facts are. The most important tool that we're going to use is something that we had unfortunately in this courtroom, and something we can do the rest of the life with your common sense. Does it make sense that this individual love would engage in some sort of violent activity? Ultimately, some certified security guards and simply allowed to walk out, and some of them casually say to the police probably used up a lot of pages to people that are writing down all of the inconsistencies and all the things to point out in the process examination about individuals pressed on a point. Pressed on how they said one thing on a particular occasion, something else on another occasion, and then simply say, like, I don't know. That is a factor that you can consider as to whether or not those witnesses are reliable or whether the case is beyond doubt. So in that battery charge, what I would say to you is the evidence is so lacking, so conflicting, you simply cannot find the guilt. You still have reasonable questions about what exactly took place between the two of them. That's reasonable doubt. You have to put it on. Let's next talk about evasion counts here. And those are the counts that deal with resisting the officers. And those are counts 1 and 4. The first count, resisting the officer with violence. And then count 4, which talks about resisting the officer without violence. It's important for issues of time to really crystallize this and get down to the issues in this case. Frankly, two issues are both charges. The actions of Noel Carter amount to resistance. Resistance either with or without violence. Or, second of all, were the officers engaged in lawful execution. Let's talk first and foremost with regard to count 1 about whether or not Noel Carter knowingly willfully resisted the instructor of Rose Davis, Charles Hayes, by offering to do violence to him. The picture speaks for itself. First and foremost. But more important, the videotape. Where in the videotape you either see or hear actions where an individual is offering to use or actually do violence to the law enforcement officer. And one thing the state pointed out, and closely, perhaps they understand the significance of this, they think that perhaps the anybody's actually perhaps the point Carter here, and that is the fact that he was fleeing. This is an individual who was running away, who was confronted with, and actually attacked by a law enforcement officer. You've heard the testimony about the effect of this taser, and pepper spray, and the taunts it had on the individual. Is it more reasonable to assume that he is, as they try to portray him, some human being who seems to have features which perhaps should qualify him for this as because of the whole? The way he's described, almost each and every act of violence appears to have a lower background. Listen to the testimony of these officers, he's used pain. And yet what you see is real pain. You see him at one point now, literally on his knees, yelling stop, expressing in a very mean voice the real harm and violence that's been done to him. There's the conflict in evidence. All of you have with regard to whether or not he was using violence or offering violence to police officers is their testimony, and the testimony of witnesses do not make a decision, frankly, to be able to resist the symptoms. What you can see with your own eyes, and using your own common sense, you know that frankly, that first element, that you knowingly, willfully resisted, obstructed, or opposed them by offering or doing violence to them hasn't been, not at all. His actions were normal reactions of someone confronted by police officers who's gone from a situation that he thought could have been resolved easily. All he was asking for was easy. He thought he could come up to get up with his ex-girlfriend. He thought that perhaps they were going to have a good night for some bizarre reason she decides to work. He's horrible about it. He's come up, they're separated. In his mind, what is he thinking? He's got rotted. You can go now. Does that sound like lawful command? Does that sound like orders or something? Use your common sense. Does that sound like a police officer? Just go ahead and go. Just before he can even get the sentence out of his mouth and say, I just need to get my keys to testify. Suddenly the officer overreacts. And thus begins a chain of violent acts against him. Leads, tries to defend himself. That first element has to be met, the second element has to be met even. That second element, it states at the time, David was used, Charles was used for heard what happened. There was an initial investigation. There was a determination at that point. He needed to go probate, or he needed to go his way. Never was, based upon a fair reading of the evidence, nor the mediation was under arrest and submitted to the orders of law enforcement. Rather than doing the appropriate de-escalating the situation, Officer Cruz was in the early 60s and engaged in a series of unfortunate actions that led us to today. So here's the issue. Keep on. That's elements 1 and 2 with regard to that charge of lack. If you still have questions like we've heard from all of these witnesses on these evidence, again, you have to go back to that reason without instruction. You have to find Mr. Carter not guilty. Now let's talk about count 4. Count 4 is the count that deals with the resisting an officer without violence. Let's look at element 1. Require the state to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Noel Carter resisted, obstructed, or opposed to David Cruz or Charles Mays. Again, an element that has to be proved beyond a reasonable doubt. If you remember nothing else, what I say to you here today, the most important principle is this. Do not simply rely upon the testimony of law enforcement officers. I'm going to be very frank and candid and can tell you what perhaps is every person's greatest and that is that law enforcement will be given more credit simply because of their status. Let me be very clear about one thing that we're saying in the argument. No one is saying that this is an attack on Brady to protect all this. There's nothing that has been said throughout this entire trial. Both my colleagues and I have respect for law enforcement officers. You cannot do anything or even be here today without the important function of serving. The issue in this case, though, is the 2 law enforcement officers here who failed to live up to that most important law standard of law enforcement to serve and protect and to behave reasonably. You can find that they were not candid, honest, and truthful. You can find that they used excessive force without that being an attack on law enforcement. Because they certainly know that it's called law enforcement. This is about their actions, what happens to them, actions that they do. So what I would hope that you would do is that you would true to what you said, you would sworn in as jurors in this case, that you would not violate that one important principle that is contained in these jury instructions. And I would like to direct your attention to it. It's turn to page 6. Page 6 talks about weighing the evidence. And there's a section in there, frankly, it's at the top that says, the fact that a witness is employed in law enforcement does not mean that his or her testimony deserves more or less consideration than that of any other witnesses. What deserves consideration is common sense and how you evaluate each and every individual trying to decide whether or not they want to tell the truth. There's one thing that the state can't dispute. This is very clear. These events took place. The law enforcement officers wrote reports about what happened, and then this video came out. The video that was embarrassing. And I saw your visceral reactions to the video. It's all looking like there's something wrong. Suddenly their statements became worse. Suddenly their statements became things by making Noel Carter look as if he was the worst individual they'd ever encountered. You have to consider their testimony the same way you think you should speak in here. You don't get special protection. But lack of logic, lack of credibility, because they didn't tell the truth. If their evidence conflicts, it's being appropriate.
Mr. Smith, you have 1 minute. You're at the 19 minute.
Very well. Let me close then just with this with regard to the most important thing concerning your jury instruction. Now we go back to this whole concept of the puzzle. There's one piece of the puzzle, the most important piece, I would say, and that is the testimony of my client when he took the stand. Now when I anticipated the whole argument, the counsel for the state talk about the fact that he has an interest in this case, that perhaps he's tailoring his testimony. But when he testified, you saw that law motion, convinced that they came back, and he perhaps That was not justified in the sense of having interest, just interest in wanting to keep that violence most like that violence involved that shows
Did you still want a 1 minute warning? You've got 10 minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was a ending point. I was just breaking somebody I didn't talk to. Video. However, I talked to you about the fact that the first person that encountered that video was Sergeant West. I had to call him Arkansas. I had to call him Arkansas State when he called him there. He got me testified why. Because I asked him, just to make sure the next day he came to the scene, he went to the Orlando Second and saw the actual video. And his response to and after that was very confusing and very, wasn't guilty, wasn't honest, wasn't. Because I asked him, when you saw it, what did you see? I didn't see anything on there about the incident. Yeah, there was something there, but I really didn't see it. And then I had to ask him, is anything a refresh your memory? And he said, oh yeah, I saw it, but when I saw the video that came out in the news a few days later, I was able to see everything that we saw here. So just think about the logic of that. That he went in there and saw the exact same video that you're seeing today, yet he didn't see what everybody that has seen it saw. Why? Because it hurts. The entire process of what they're trying to say, life is justified. Think about that. He said he denies that he saw anything. He puts it in his report. I went to the Orlando Central. He didn't say he saw it, didn't see anything. The Orlando Central leader did not show anything. Because they didn't want to come out. The Orlando Central came out 4 or 5 days later. And as time went on, what has been the approach to that video? Their approach is deny. Trying to justify. You think about it, think about that. But when they did their reports, they didn't put anything in there. Even when I had Officer Cruz up here, and I asked him, is that you kicking him in the avenue on your face? He's not. And I said, you sure that's not you kicking him in the avenue? He goes, no, I wasn't kicking him in the avenue, I was kicking him in the shoulder. And all the other things that I don't know if that's kicking me on the side, Officer Basement, yeah, that's Officer Cruz kicking. The point is that this video tells you everything that happened. Why these officers at the beginning of this act the way they did, and why they acted the way they did. I want to end our closing by talking to you about the most important person in this place. And that is Noel Carter. That's who you were being asked at the state for. You've seen the video for the last 5 days. You've seen him testify on the stand. You've heard about who he is, particularly coming back. Go up in South Florida, Western High School, Florida National University, that's finance. Started off working full-time at Best Buy, but there it is. And got a job at a large financial institution, worked his way up, vice president, receiving all his Series 7s, all his licenses. That's who Noel Carter is. Because anything that these police officers are trying to do, they have to be consistent with that. There's no question he had to be even did. But the action there is how many have I ever reported. That's the consistent type of person he is. The most important thing is being consistent with what Noel Carter did. We've all watched it. We've all watched it. We know the rights of the person who's charged. What Noel Carter do? He had a press conference. Go out, public, on national television, CNN, on national television, interview public school. He volunteered to go down that illegal that state under oath, which obviously is something that all the state has to use against the United States. And then he went in front of a whole state commission, a city's commission, to tell them what he went through. Does that sound like the action of a person? gentlemen, I'm going to talk to you about what's going to happen. You're going to be given a verdict. Very simple. It's 4 questions. So this is the actual large size of the verdict. First question for each count asks whether you find him guilty of various charges. The second one says you find him not. You maintain that absolutely unequivocally all of them have been ruled against every single count. We're supposed to talk about what happened between this after they said and then the element of time. The state will come up. That's why they sat here. Talking over the technicality. I want to bring you back to real life is what happened. Is that resisting an officer with violence, not guilty. Battery or law enforcement officer. Neither one. Not guilty. Count 3, battery and fail. Okay. Against the will. You don't let somebody go. Not guilty. Count 4. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be sitting down and say, the state has the last opportunity here. They have the burden for the investigator Carter. I want you to think, Mr. Williams, get up here, how would Mr. Waller address the issues? I can anticipate, based on his cross-examination, Mr. Carter is going to break up 3 basic issues. The first is Mr. Carter saying he went out to the car, he doesn't remember coming back to the car. Mr. Carter said, yes, that's true, I didn't say that when I used it, but once I had used videos, I realized I did go back. And it's not like what you say is what happened. You see him coming out of the car. The other ones have to do with him after he got sprayed, trying to talk to Mrs. Feo, and him saying whether or not he had to use it. Those are the 3 basic things he brought up using the state. Other than that, Mr. Carter, you saw how he testified. You see the face, you see the truthful. Mr. Carter, how about that? You saw him already testify about the video, emotionality, what happened. Ladies and gentlemen, in a moment after Mr. Williams finishes his cross-examination, I hope for you to have you go back to the jury room and deliberate. We'll go back to the unanimous verdict. That verdict will say not guilty of multiple counts. You've not been able to do anything to talk to anybody about this case. You'll be in this courthouse. We'll go home to your respective families. They will ask what. Based on everything we saw on the horrible nature of what happened, the facts of the state, after the thing based on the policy, acts, and accuracy, value of proper procedure. We found this part after Jeffrey County. Gentlemen, thank you for your time. We should investigate. That, Smith, Jackson, Ms. Swanson, Mr. Carter, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Waller. All right, members of the jury, we're going to take a recess because we've been sitting for a while. All right, so members of the jury, you may leave your notepads on the chair as you exit. Please also remember not to discuss the case amongst yourselves yet. You're excused to the jury room.
Chair is exiting.
I know. See if I can do something about the AC. Take a 10-minute recess.